Good evening and welcome to SACAP's 2023 online graduation ceremony. I'm Leanne Drummond, Head of SACAP's Management and Leadership Faculty, and I have the privilege of being your MC. My responsibility is to ensure that this is a memorable event filled with celebration. One of my favorite parts of the online graduation ceremony is knowing that we can have loved ones and special guests from all around the globe be present while watching the live streaming of this pre-recorded event. Before we get started with the official program, I want to briefly convey some important information. This graduation ceremony is pre-recorded and will be made available to you. We will also share it on our various social media platforms, allowing you to relive your special moment again. Although the session is pre-recorded, the comment section is live. Family and loved ones, we encourage you to please comment throughout as well. Should you have any questions, please do not post in the comments section as we may not be able to attend to this. Rather, please email graduation2023@sacap.edu.za. We have added this email address to the comments section now. Please note that for the ceremony, only the first name and your surname will be read, but that your certificate will have your full names as seen on your ID and passport. For all our graduates, you will receive a keepsake package via courier, which includes your certificate, transcript, graduation booklet, and a personalized dean's letter. We can now begin with the formalities. Our first speaker is Dr. Jacqueline Notter, SACAP's Academic Dean, who will officially open and constitute this graduation ceremony.
Good evening, and as always, a very warm SACAP welcome to our staff, educator body, and most importantly, to our most esteemed graduates and your loved ones. Tonight I want to pose a question about the value of your newly earned qualification in the face of an AI revolution that is claiming, amongst other things, that ChatGPT can do therapy. That's the premise of at least one article I've read recently. For any of you who don't know what ChatGPT is, you're obviously not someone who's had to write an essay recently. But for your benefit briefly, ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence chatbot. This means you can talk to it using regular human language and it will respond. What is incredible about ChatGPT is that we can mold it to exactly how we want it to be and how we want it to respond. We can even have it sounding a little more like Carl Jung if that is what we want. If we wanted to just listen and ask questions, then that is what it can do. While there are major and very real concerns in relation to the rapid pace at which AI is developing, what is impressive to note is that ChatGPT grew to 100 million users faster than any other product in history. It is changing the way we live and work before our very eyes. Now, I'm a psychologist by profession, and so much like everyone else, I too was worried about whether the machine is ultimately able to do my job. And so I was eager to get the answer to Dr. Jacqueline Nessie's question, can ChatGPT do therapy? Therapy is notoriously inaccessible across the world, but particularly in South Africa. In June last year, data shared in Parliament indicated that there are just 450 psychologists that serve state patients, the majority of our population of almost 60 million, with a hugely uneven distribution of psychological care across our provinces. Not to mention the stigma that still exists around mental health and seeking help. And so, if ChatGPT can do therapy, then maybe it's not such a bad thing. It's mostly free and certainly more accessible than actual therapy, although it does still require a phone, data, and some forms of literacy. And to be clear, if you dig not too deep on the internet, you'll see that people are already using it for this purpose. So yes, absolutely, I believe technology can provide immense value to people, and it will continue to improve. As an addition to therapy, as a tool to ask questions and problem solve, it is very powerful. But can it replace therapy? I don't think it can. Even if ChatGPT always gave accurate and reliable input, which it doesn't, it still won't have the ability to do therapy. As it stands, we cannot rely on it to diagnose mental health problems or develop medically sound treatment plans. But the most critical limitation for me has a more direct link to the truth about how therapy or counseling actually works. I know that I don't need to explain to the majority of you that there are many different types of therapies, all with their own set of acronyms. Some with a lot of evidence to support their efficacy, and some more strongly indicated for specific disorders. But at the end of the day, what a lot of research confirms is that there is a single factor that is almost more critical to treatment success than any other, and that is the therapeutic alliance, or more simply put, the positive relationship that exists between therapist or counselor and client. From my perspective, a relationship needs at least two people to make it work. Both people need to have their own thoughts and feelings, preferences, and most importantly for me, boundaries. If one side of the relationship is being continuously molded and shaped to fit the wants of the other, then that's not a true relationship, and it's certainly not a healthy one. While ChatGPT can certainly simulate sympathy, it's ultimately not a real person. AI will be used as a tool to generate content, to facilitate communication, to provide guidance. It will dramatically enhance the ability of humans to create digital information, not all of which we can trust or rely on. And so I go back to my original question. What does all of this mean for you as a graduate of a College of Applied Psychology? While your training has not necessarily been directly linked to the delivery of therapy in the form I've been speaking about, you have been learning and applying yourselves within an institution of higher learning that believes in the application of psychology to positively influence all types of human-centered spaces. Your commitment and curiosity has seen you develop key psychological knowledge and skills, and these are going to set you up for success in this very fast-paced and evolving landscape that is the world of work. What you have been engaged in throughout your qualification is the development of essential skills. There are many that we could unpack, be it emotional intelligence, communication, flexibility, clinical know-how, or the development of innovative, accessible, and sustainable solutions. But one of what I believe to be the most important skills that you have been developing during your time with SACAP is that of critical thinking. While the development of critical thinking may be a byproduct of all higher education, it is at the very center of a social sciences specific education. I believe its importance has never been so clear to see as right now. It's about having your own ideas and the ability to interpret and analyze information you receive to gauge its credibility and value. For many of you, this would have been one of the first skills you began to develop in your earliest modules. It gives me the greatest confidence that SACAP supported you in the further development of your intelligence, a real and grounded human intelligence that will allow you and the people whose lives you impact to leverage the opportunities that technologies like AI bring, while staying deeply connected to the values and concerns of humanity. Let's continue with the example of AI for a moment. As already discussed, AI is not yet at a point where it's able to replace humans, but to the non-expert, it looks like it can. There's a lot of hype around AI right now. Some of that hype is absolutely legitimate, but it's worth asking the question concerning whose interests the hype serves. The hype is certainly convenient marketing for a lot of big companies releasing products that have some AI functionality built in. Critical thinking requires of us to interrogate the hype and develop a deeper level of understanding. We cannot rely on the information received to be taken at face value. It's not just written text that we need to interrogate, but images, photographs, and videos. Your ability to interrogate everything is no longer just a nice to have. It's going to become essential as an employee. And if I'm going to go existential for a second, possibly for the continued existence of humanity in the long run. This is a skill that you have been developing during your time as a student at SACAP. Throughout your qualification, you have also been developing the ability to build strong working relationships through the development of empathy. Empathy allows you to see the world through the eyes and perspective of another without necessarily needing to agree with that perspective. It allows you to intuitively sense the emotions of those around you, anticipate need, and hear the unvoiced questions in a room. This is an extremely powerful ability when it comes to any kind of work involving the development of people. But just to double check myself, I asked ChatGPT whether it has the ability to show true empathy. And of course, and perhaps reassuringly, it told me it doesn't. This is because it does not have emotional consciousness, but rather it's programmed to recognize emotional cues in the language of the user and then generate a response that seems comforting. Its response is based on algorithms and data input rather than actual emotional experience. I was also comforted to find ChatGPT encouraging me to seek professional help for mental health concerns and to look for real human connection. But of course, I might be completely biased in all of this because after all, I am only human. So ultimately, what am I actually trying to say? It's quite simple. Sure, technology is evolving at a rapid rate and the world is changing before our very eyes, for better in some instances and for worse. But I wholeheartedly believe that the world and our country still needs graduates like you. Graduates who think deeply and critically. Graduates who engage with the world around them, always leading with empathy. And in a world where technologies devoid of consciousness and emotion are on the rise, we need individuals like yourselves who are values-driven, who take responsibility for your actions, and who do the right thing even when nobody is watching. Therefore, I continue to firmly believe that the world needs more SACAP graduates, possibly more so now than ever before. And so as I draw to a close, it's important for me to thank our educators and supervisors, as well as our online campus staff body, who have individually and collectively played critical roles in creating a rich learning environment for our students. Without you, none of this would be possible. I want to thank sincerely the community of loved ones who have supported our students through the good and the bad of their student journeys, and who have often had to make significant sacrifices yourselves. We see you and we appreciate you. But most importantly tonight, on behalf of the entire SACAP community, it gives me the greatest pleasure to congratulate each and every graduate on your wonderful achievements. We truly are so proud of you and hold a deep belief in the value that each of you has to add to society. We will continue to watch in anticipation to see the impact that you, as a valued part of our alumni community, go on to have in the world around you. Congratulations, class of 2022. It is now my honor as Academic Dean to declare this graduation ceremony of the South African College of Applied Psychology duly constituted.
Next is our keynote speaker, Ryan Stromroth. Ryan had no intention of ever becoming an inspirational speaker. He is a successful entrepreneur, a SACAP coaching course graduate, and runs 2 dynamic businesses in Cape Town and the United Kingdom. But his hobby of extreme swimming has taken him on an incredible journey, one that has seen him push his own personal boundaries and eventually the boundaries of mankind. He has set the bar a notch higher around the world on a few occasions. Ryan was the first in the world to swim an official mile distance in Antarctica in water temperatures that was -1 degree Celsius, wearing only a Speedo swimming trunks, putting him firmly on the world stage. In 2021, he successfully swam 34 kilometers across one of the most dangerous and difficult bodies of water, setting a world record and earning him his 3rd Guinness World Record. Ryan was also nominated for Open Water Swimming Man of the Year globally, a massive accolade. We only have a short time with him today, and have asked that he share just one story with us, which began his epic journey of the mind. A journey that is nothing short of incredible and packed to the brim with lessons, mind-altering situations and inspiration. Ryan has held the record for the most Robben Island swim crossings in history and has now completed 133 crossings. He treats this massive swim in icy waters as his training swim. Ryan emphasizes this is not a story of success or failure, it is a story of pushing past impossible. Over to you, Ryan.
You know what, thank you so much for such a lovely introduction. It's amazing to be here. But I have to confess to having just a little bit of an internal cringe moment every time those Guinness World Records are mentioned in an introduction. Don't get me wrong, I'm so super proud of all of them, especially that 3rd one that I got 2 years ago. That was really, I put my body and my mind on the line to get that right. And once you've done that, you have to go to Guinness and apply, through some paperwork and make sure you've jumped through all the hoops. And then you sit and wait to see, are they going to give you that coveted Guinness stamp? And it was in the middle of lockdown. I remember I suddenly got an email saying, well done, Ryan, you've got your 3rd Guinness World Record. I was so super proud. But I'm sitting at home all alone mostly, except my little son, Jesse, who's 10 years old, is sitting on the couch behind me. And you want to show somebody this. You want to tell, it's not information you want to keep to yourself. So I went onto the Guinness website and there's me coming out of the water in my Speedo, your hands in the air, in amongst all the other records. So I called Jesse, come have a look, come have a look. So he's already irritated because he has to put his screen down. But he wanders over, he says, Dad, what did you do? I said, no, I did this big swim. He's like, oh, another swim. I'm like, no, but this one's a big one. Dad got a Guinness World Record for this. So he says, what? So I explain a little bit to him what a Guinness World Record is, and he comes and he's looking over my shoulder at the computer screen. He can see me there. And the more I try and explain to him, the less impressed he is. Can't impress him, but all of a sudden, his little face just lights up. And he says, Dad, there's a guy who put 32 marshmallows in his mouth. Can you do that? And at that point, I realized your kid is always going to bring you back down. I can't do the marshmallow thing, but I do other stuff as well. Anyway, so who on earth am I after that introduction? Who am I and how do I end up chatting to you today? And it's very important for me that everyone understands and realizes, despite what I'm going to show you in a bit, that I'm absolutely none other than the quintessential average Joe. I have no clever ability to self-heat my center core or to do anything more special than any of you. I'm a salesman by trade. I'm a SACAP graduate very proudly, and I have all the bonds and bills and stresses of life that everyone else has. But my hobby happens to be what you call ultra extreme open water and ice swimming. Now that probably doesn't sound that exciting to most of you, and most have never heard of me, but just by the nature of some of the things I've done, some of the boundaries that I've pushed for my own personal reasons, firstly my own boundaries and eventually the boundaries of mankind, catapulted me up into this little group of sports extremists that you find around the world that I didn't even know existed. And I've now traveled the world to this planet's most inhospitable places, pushing my own boundaries, then eventually the boundaries of mankind. But there is a very, very key message that I hope to leave you with as you graduate today. I want to make sure you walk away with at least this one understanding. So let's get started. I'm going to tell you a short story. But first and foremost, I like to give a message up front. And I don't think you're ever going to listen to an inspirational speaker who has a more simple message. But I want to do it up front just so you've got it in the back of your mind. Here it comes. If you do not get outside your comfort zone, you cannot learn new stuff. And when you stop learning new stuff, you cannot grow. And when you stop growing, you will get knocked over or overtaken by those who are. Remember that, because it's the truest thing you're ever going to hear. Now, when I was taken out of the water as a swimmer and convinced to start sharing the story that I have with everybody, I remember I started talking a lot about the comfort zone because I'm sure you've all heard about the comfort zone, and I promise you I'm going to do things differently. But it became quite a fascination to me because it's such a real thing. And I hope to express a little bit just how amazingly my life changed when I accepted firsthand and looked it in the eye just how much you're going to learn when you are forced outside that comfort zone, and just how little you learn when you stay in it. Okay? It is very, very important. And now I'm standing on stages in front of people and I have to kind of make sense of this. So I thought, let me come up with a definition of a comfort zone. So I went to Wikipedia and the dictionary. I had some of my own thoughts as well. And this is what we came up with. A comfort zone is the behavioral state in which a person operates in an anxiety-neutral condition using a limited set of behaviors to deliver a steady level of performance without the element of risk. Now, if any of you watching me today think that you are going to excel in this world, in this environment, applying the words neutral, limited, and even steady to the way you deliver your performance, the way you perform, you've got another thing coming. Okay? It does not work. To get outside your comfort zone, remember this, you have to experiment with new and different behavior. And when we experiment with new and different behavior, what happens? You get new and different responses to that behavior. And along with those new and different responses come outcomes that we can't control. Sometimes the response is failure. And along with failure comes consequence and humiliation and all those lovely things that we all try to avoid, me included. So what do we do as humans? We default to staying inside our comfort zone, inside that lane that we're in. We deliver steady performance. We get by. We might get the mark we hope for. We might make the money we hope for. We might deliver the number that we have been targeted, that our bosses have set for us. But on the other side of that line is where the magic happens, and it's highly likely that we underachieve our entire life. Now, my swimming journey has opened my eyes to this in a very, very real way. I count myself very lucky, although at the time it's just brutal because it really, really hurts. But I have seen firsthand just how unbelievably powerful the human mind is. No one ever argues with me when I say the following. The human mind is the gateway to absolute greatness. Yes, because it really is. No one argues. But where I do get a little bit of wide eyes, and I want to share this with you today, so think about it, where I do get a bit of pushback is when I say the following. This human mind, this gateway to absolute greatness that we all have, it's our biggest limitation. It is designed to keep you safe. It has evolved over hundreds of thousands of years to make sure you stay inside that comfort zone. Okay? And that's all very wonderful for the survival of the human species and all these nice things. But a side effect of this evolution of our minds is that it is keeping you safe from the emotional pain that comes from failure. Because again, when you fail, there's consequences, humiliation, there are things that we don't like. Okay, and you've got this unbelievably powerful tool that is going to make sure that doesn't happen. Each and every one of you watching today has got what I call an unexplored power tool. And so few of us ever realize in our lives that there is a switch you can flick or a button you can press, however you want to look at it, that takes you out of a self-protect way of looking at problems, at lives, at targets, at goals, at challenges, and puts you into a self-explore mode of looking at it. And I don't expect you to listen to me for a few minutes and go, oh, there's a switch in my head, flick it and life will be different. But if you can just take the one point I hope to make for you today or deliver to you guys today, you will start your own journeys to figure out how to access that switch. So I wanted to show a DVD today of my English Channel swim where I try to swim in a Speedo, goggles and cap 40 kilometers from Dover in the UK all the way across to France. But my 13-hour video was probably a bit long for this session, I'm only joking, but it was in that English Channel swim that I, for the very first time, found that switch to which I refer. At the time I took on the English Channel, the stats were that 90% of the people who attempt it will fail. Okay, there was only a 10% chance of success. Still to this day, by the way, 3 times more people have summited Mount Everest than have ever made it across that English Channel. And here was I going to give it a go, a complete novice swimmer at the time. And I was, there's one thing you can control as an English Channel swimmer, besides your actual fitness. You need to choose the perfect day to do your swim on. You want to find a day where the water's as warm as it can possibly be, because it's a cold body of water, that English Channel. But most importantly, you want no wind. And I had spent a long time trying to find the right day where there will be absolutely no wind. I consulted the experts, we'd all got together and we'd agreed that this day is the day I should give it a go. And that is the day I gave it a go. And something absolutely horrible happened. 9 hours into my swim, well, actually 3 hours into my swim, the weather turned bad, but it was 9 hours into my swim. The wind had picked up so horribly. The waves were rolling me around. It had started to get dark. I was absolutely freezing cold. I was going through all kinds of mental torture, and I hit the wall. Now, I hope some of you understand the concept of hitting the wall. Okay? When you hit the wall, it pretty much means your tank is empty. You've got nothing more to give. So when you hit the wall in a running race or a cycle race or something land-based, it's usually traumatic because that's the end of your challenge. When you hit the wall and you are in the middle of the English Channel, 9 hours in, you've still got at least 4 or 5 hours to swim if you're going to get anywhere close to that French coast. There are waves rolling you around. It is freezing cold and it is pitch dark. If you even put one hand on that support boat alongside you, you are disqualified instantly. Hitting the wall is absolutely devastating. Okay? And here I was, I'd hit the wall. I could not take one more stroke. It was all over for me. I couldn't see a way out of it. It was the end. Now, absolutely impossible for me. Now, had I pulled out of the English Channel on that day, what would have happened? I would have climbed out onto the support boat alongside me. Everybody would have patted me on the back and gone, Ryan, wow, you swam for 9 hours in those terrible, terrible conditions. That's not what we predicted. That's not what was planned. That's not what we expected. You swam for 9 hours. That's incredible. Pat on the back, mate, you gave your best. And I would have been what I call an excuse magnet. I would have sucked this all in beautifully and gone, nodded my head and gone, yes, I gave my best. How unlucky was I that the weather did not play ball and those waves and everything happened that slowed me down and put me into the darkness and made me so tired. I would have sucked it all in and believed it. And that, ladies and gents, is exactly what that default setting of our minds is designed to do. It is designed to make you believe in your own limitations. Because when you believe in them, you have no reason to challenge them. You don't even know that you can challenge them. They're happening deep in your head. Now, I did not pull out of the English Channel on that day, largely because of a very strong support team. I'd love to talk to you all about teamwork one day. But although swimming's a very individual sport, it is all about the power of your team. And I had a really strong support team. And I had my brother. My brother's a big lad. He knows nothing about swimming at all. And I'd given him a list of things that he can and can't do while we are on that ship, on that support boat, and what he can say and what he can't say. It's very particular because he knows nothing about swimming. And, you know, I'm a very stressed swimmer when you're trying to do that kind of distance. And on that list of things that he needed to do or don't do was that if I show any sign of weakness from start to finish on that swim, he needs to read that line to me. And he read that line to me with great enthusiasm. I can't repeat it on tape as it's very rude. But it made me put my head down again. And for another 4.5 hours, stroke by stroke, inch by inch, in those waves, in the pitch darkness, in the freezing cold, in the wind, screaming and crying a little, but no one cares when you face down in the English Channel, I inched my way on and eventually found myself standing on a deserted, pitch dark French beach 13 hours later. Now, there's one thing you know as an English Channel swimmer, and that is that when you get really close to the French coast, they lower a little rubber duck, okay, and that little rubber duck escorts you the last 500 meters into the beach, and that is because it gets too shallow for the big boat to take you all the way in. So right at the end of the swim, I didn't care if death came before the little rubber duck. I was so miserable at this point. But I knew in the darkness I could see that little rubber duck because there was a light on it, and when they lower that down, then I must be close. So I was just, every breath I took on my swim, waiting to see them lower that little rubber duck, and it never came. And all of a sudden, the big boat just disappeared into the darkness. The waves were rolling me around, and I realized they've lost me at sea. My number is up. It's the end. And I'm being completely over dramatic here because it felt like hours, but it was probably only about 5 minutes, where I swam into the darkness, and all of a sudden my hand struck the French soil, and I stood up, and I was right on the French coast, and I walked the last few meters out, and there I stood on that beach, and I realized at that point that I'm going to have to swim back to the support boat that is now anchored 500 meters off, which I thought was quite rude, but it was too rough for them to put the little Zodiac down. They had just escorted me in with a safety swimmer who was behind me, who I couldn't see. Now, once I had swum back to the support boat, I headed back to Dover. It's a 4-hour boat ride home. You don't get to stay in France. And I started to compute what had gone on for me out there in the middle of the English Channel. Okay, and for the first time in my life, I realized that I had just pushed past impossible. Not anybody else's impossible, my own. I had reached a point where it was impossible for me to take one more stroke, yet somehow I had flicked a switch or pushed a button. I had changed gear from body to mind, and I'd managed to swim for another 4.5 hours and succeed in my swim. And that completely changed my life, completely changed the way I look at all those little impossibles that are just working so hard to keep me inside my comfort zone. And chunk by chunk, bite by bite, I started to challenge them one by one. And that has taken me on a journey all the way to the top of this little group of extreme swimmers and changed my life profoundly. And that is what I hope to share with you today. Okay, I want to share with you the 2 lines that I call Ryan's lines. Okay? One is the mind's endpoint. That is where your mind tells you, you know what, that's the end for me, time to turn around. On the other side of this, we don't know what's going to happen. Okay? On the other side of the spectrum is what I call the real endpoint. I'm an inspirational speaker, but I don't go around saying anything you put your mind to is possible. I'm a little more real than that. There is an impossible down the line if you push it too far. But the lesson I want to get across to you today is where your mind is telling you the end point is not where the end point is. So you've got the mind's end point, you've got the real end point, and between those 2 lines is a very uncomfortable space. No one really wants to go there. But that is where the growth happens. And on the left-hand side of the mind's end point is underachievement. As we've said, you'll get by, you'll deliver. You'll never know any better. That's the saddest thing about it. But you will be underachieving as a human. You will not be growing to the extent that you could be growing. And what bigger crime is that in life? On the other side of the spectrum, on the other side of the real endpoint line is danger. Maybe don't go there too often unless you've really done your homework. Between those 2 lines is that very uncomfortable space. But as I said, that is where the growth is going to happen. Okay? But also between those 2 lines is the great fear of failure. So I want to leave you with the message today before I say goodbye, is stop worrying so much about success or failure. Because that deep-seated fear of failure that we all have will always override the less tangible chance of success. So we end up not trying. We end up staying inside our comfort zone. We end up on the left of the mind's endpoint. We end up underachieving, delivering, getting by, roof over our head, maybe some food on the table. But as a human being, you owe it to yourself to try, to dabble where the growth happens. And that's what I really hope you're all able to do. I challenge you to find one thing you're scared of doing every day, little by little, bite-sized chunks, and challenge it, look it in the eye, and see if you can get it right. 90% of the time when we try something we really don't think we can try, we end up succeeding. You know, after my SACAP course, when I did performance coaching, I speak to a lot of people and I always ask them, what are your goals? Have you set yourself a nice, real, challenging goal? And everyone says, yes, I have. And then I ask them, okay, so do you know that you can achieve that goal? And what do you think everybody says? They all say, yes, I know I can achieve that goal. So I say, how are you going to achieve that goal? They go, well, if I do this, and then I do that, and then I do that. So I said, you've got a clear path that if you do this, this, you will achieve your goal. Yes. I said, then you're staying inside your comfort zone. If you are setting goals at home that you know you can achieve, that is comfort zone stuff. It's when you set that goal that you're not sure you can achieve, that you're going to have to push a little bit harder, that you're going to have to research, that is definitely going to take you outside your comfort zone. That is where the growth happens. And I can almost promise you, you will achieve that goal that you set that you didn't think you would. And you will grow. And that's where your path and your trajectory is a whole lot different. And that's what I wish for you. So find those little impossibles, challenge them, and push past impossible. I wish you all the very best. And thank you so much for listening to me today.
Thank you, Ryan, for that inspiring address. We will now be moving into the certification process led by Carl Badenhorst, Head of Learning Design and Online Teaching. A reminder to please add any celebratory comments in the comment box while we celebrate each other's accomplishments together.
Good evening, graduands. This evening we have 82 students graduating across 5 different programs at this graduation ceremony. We will start the evening with the following candidates for the Higher Certificate in Counseling and Communication Skills. Alice Buckle, Anika Khan, Bellany Berger, Brenda Grove, Shayan Sathayandam, Danica Apollos, Daniela Dayacha, Davinagi Naidu, Dylan DeBrain, Jacqueline Demas, Yanu Sutherland, Jared Dunn, Jessica Bell, Krishia Schulz, Louise Hudson, Mantombi Maruma, Melanie Cameron, Moira Steenkamp, Ntandu Malangu, Cornaya Malam, Rubina Hader, Tiffany Fisher, Zoe Hildebrandt. A huge congratulations to our Higher Certificates in Counseling and Communication Skills graduates. Up next, we have the candidates who are graduating with a Diploma in Counseling and Communication Skills. Georgina Buchanan, Ilse Vandenberg, Imogen MacDonald, Jamie Kessner, Jennifer Mtunkulu, Karen Strudwick, Distinction, Mfu Mabunda, Buletso Mukuna. A huge congratulations to our Diploma in Counseling and Communication Skills graduates. The following students are graduating with the Bachelor of Applied Social Science, majoring in Psychology and Counseling. Andrea Murigen, Anne Mayring, Arishad Thomas, Ayanda Tetyana, Bafana Zamande, Bongiwe Ngumbisi, Broca Melnick, cum laude, Chanel Rutman, Shelton van Rooyen, Cherie Hewitt, cum laude, David Allen, Aljanae Campbell, Genevieve Dickens, Gertie Mueller, Gillian Yankelo, Jacqueline Fillion, Jamie Lecrancy, Jessica Sata, Johannes Jansunius, Caitlin Padiachi, Caitlin Curry, Lefki Langa, Makwakwe Nkosi, Machego Setlare, Monique Yates, Naiman Singh, Pila Shidi, Rory Capon, Rose Marie Rieda, Shamila Standa, Shireen Klassen, Simpiwe Mokundwane, Sasanda Ngwala, Sumati Desar, Taryn Benelik, cum laude, Taryn Ann Combrick, Teresa De Meyer, cum laude, Tristan Albalas, Valerie Shane, cum laude, Vuisa Matsu, Zigafi Ngewu. A huge congratulations to our Bachelor of Applied Social Science, majoring in Psychology and Counseling graduates. The following students are graduating with the Bachelor of Applied Social Science, majoring in Psychology and Human Resource Management. Angela Mayer, Jamie Lee Liebenberg. A huge congratulations to our Bachelor of Applied Social Science, majoring in Psychology and Human Resource Management graduates. The following students are graduating with the Bachelor of Social Science Honours Psychology. Courtney Edwards, Konotse Mabane, Jessica Gomes, Kaylee Harris, Lauren Smith, Lasanda Tayopo, Lavinia Mnisi, Marianne Hartwig, Marnie Hayes. A huge congratulations to our Bachelor of Social Science Honours Psychology graduates. I will now call upon Dr. Jacqueline Lotter, our Academic Dean, to announce the Dean's Award.
Thank you so much to Carl for conferring the qualifications upon our graduates this evening. By the authority vested in me as Academic Dean, I now admit the candidates who are presented to me in the graduation booklet to degrees, diplomas and certificates of the South African College of Applied Psychology. Congratulations. Every year, I have the pleasure of awarding a handful of really exceptional students the Dean's Merit Award for outstanding achievement in their respective qualifications. The awarding of this is always a highlight for me, as the recipients aren't aware that they will be receiving it, and so it really is something quite special. The Dean's Merit Award is awarded to the graduating student who achieves the highest overall grade out of the top 10% of graduating students. This award is for overall outstanding academic achievement, and this year is awarded to the following online students. For the highest certificate in counselling and communication skills, Kania Malam. For the diploma in counselling and communication skills, Karen Struvig. And for the Bachelor of Applied Social Science, majoring in Psychology and Counselling, Taryn Lee Benelak. My sincere congratulations to the recipients of the Dean's Award. I have personally chosen a book specifically for our recipients, along with a personal letter and framed certificate, which we will ensure reaches you. You should be as proud of yourselves as we are of you. We, the SACAP community, acknowledge your commitment to your studies and wish you all the very best in your future endeavours.
Well done to each and every graduate. You should be so proud of what you have accomplished. Next on our program is an opportunity for us to recognise SACAP's purpose of educating for a better world and how your studies have equipped you for social impact. At SACAP, social impact and making a sustainable difference in the world is foundational in why and how we prepare graduates for their future. One way we prepare our students for social impact is through work-integrated learning, or WIL. WIL is an opportunity for students to gain experience in their chosen career by completing a practical component in the form of a placement, internship, or project that contributes towards the student's qualification. This is where your training really comes to life. In 2022, SACAP had more than 500 students engaging in the WIL module across the faculties of Applied Psychology, Management and Leadership, and Social Work and Community Development. 108 of these students were active student registered counsellors, registered with the Health Professions Council of South Africa, and 26 coaches. Collectively, our students together served over 60 organisations within South Africa, dedicating a total of 116,360 hours to their respective community, working with children, adolescents, and adults. Collectively, our students engaged in over 7,000 hours of supervision, a total of 16 WIL coordinators and over 40 professional supervisors who comprise of psychologists, registered counsellors, HR practitioners, coaches, and social workers supported each student while they successfully completed their WIL journey. Students' work during WIL not only benefits the organisations and the individuals they serve, but also prepares them for successful careers. Together with marketing, the Work Integrated Learning team have put together a short video which bears testimony not only to the unique WIL component of SACAP's qualifications, but also to the fact that your learning extends far beyond the borders of our classrooms and the walls of our institution. Please enjoy this short video.
Work-integrated learning, in a nutshell, is an opportunity for students to really apply the knowledge that they've learned throughout the years of studies in a real-life setting.
WIL is a unique experience because we study the theory, which is imperative. It affords us the opportunity to get exposure to the field that we're about to enter and to give us practical coping tools to be able to apply what we've learned.
You have the exposure to see where the gaps are and where your role is as a psychosocial support worker. Not only is it beneficial for us to sharpen our skills and our toolboxes, but it allows mental health to be promoted within communities, which is an added benefit.
And within this particular program, students are placed at various organizations and they engage in either a practicum, an internship, or it's done through a particular project. And this is really where the students get the real life experience of what it actually means to work out in their chosen career.
An important aspect of students going out and being able to apply knowledge is what we call through supervision. A very important component of WIL, where students go out there in the field and they're able to implement what has been learned through someone who's had experience.
Supervisors assist student-registered counsellors at their placement sites at SACAP by ensuring that they are practicing according to the scope of practice mandated by the Health Professions Council.
The coach supervision is a formal process of professional support that ensures the continuing development of the coach and the effectiveness of the coaching practice.
Coaches actually train up and work with the individuals and leave them with tool belts that they can be self-generating, self-creating, self-correcting later.
Through WIL, we partner with different organizations, mental health organizations such as schools, organizations such as clinics, which offer a component of psychology or component of of counseling. When students are allocated to a placement site, they're also allocated to a placement supervisor. So in addition to the WIL coordinator, in addition to the SACAP supervisor, they are allocated to a site supervisor, someone who tends to them while they are at the site.
In coaching, we talk about you need to trust the process, but you don't understand what that means until you are in the internship and you've got a person that holds your hand. So that's what WIL did for me. It was practical hands-on experience. That's what I got from WIL.
Based on the feedback we received from the various placement sites that we partnered with this year, SACAP students have cemented their footprint at the sites and in communities. So I would say that they've definitely left a tangible impact at their respective sites.
Our partnership with SACAP has had very big returns for us. We have seen how we succeeded through our programs before our partnership with SACAP, and where we are now, where majority of our youth go on to find full-time employment. And as I said, this is the game changer for us, and this is what our youth are actually benefiting from.
Having the SACAP third year WIL students come in has been very beneficial to us, because it's always a demand for social service practices, and they've been able to assist us. It's actually mutually beneficial for us, because in that way they're getting their practical component and we're actually getting a service from them, where they are actually like volunteers towards us in helping and assisting in our programs and projects.
Something that I obtained from this WIL experience that I did not expect was the feedback. So seeing the changes and observing the changes with the people that I interacted with, small changes that made a huge difference in the individual's life.
I have to say that I was able to learn how to hold space for ambiguity and uncertainty, especially when dealing with other people.
I will be taking this experience into the future, as it will benefit not only me but some colleagues as well.
Without WIL, I don't think I would be the coach that I think I am today. They contributed immensely to my growth as a professional, as a human being, and as a student.
Not only are students leaving with that knowledge, but they network as well with their sites. They network and they build those networks with their supervisors.
And that's why we say it's the hallmark of our curriculum.
Next, we'll be hearing from one of our own, a SACAP graduate and current SACAP postgraduate student, Angela Meyer. With an interest in psychology since her early school days, Angela started her SACAP journey in 2018 while running a renowned education centre in Middelburg, Mpumalanga, which she had opened 4 years prior. Through her studies at SACAP, she realised her dream of contributing to the emotional and psychological well-being of children beyond their academic performance. As a mature student and mother of 2 teenage daughters, she completed her initial studies with SACAP and is now pursuing SACAP's newly launched postgraduate certificate in education at the Johannesburg campus. Angela's passion for psychology will never end, and she hopes to specialize in educational psychology in the future to provide support to children within the school context. In her free time, she loves to indulge in photography and has even done wedding shoots in the past. Let us welcome this creative and inspiring speaker who has already made a significant impact in her community.
Before I begin, I would like to thank SACAP for this opportunity. It has been a great privilege to have started my psychology journey here. Initially, my studies was actually within the arts. I taught within this field for a number of years, and then thereafter I opened up an education centre in education alongside my husband, and have been running that since. For the longest time, I have been keenly interested to study psychology formally, particularly in my workings with children. I had looked at many institutions and never quite found one that resonated with me until November 2017, when a lucky search led me to SACAP. Well, the following January, I was registered and I haven't looked back since. The journey was challenging. I was an older student. I hadn't formally studied in years, and the beginning was daunting to say the least. But the growth has been incredible. And more than my own journey, I feel truly grateful to have been able to set an example to my own children who've been able to see and identify with the struggles and joys that come with academic learning. And hopefully, this has inspired a spirit of lifelong learning within them. I share this with you today because there are three main messages I'd like to leave with you. Firstly, I believe that each of our journeys are truly not random and that we happen to be here today for a reason as we celebrate the end of our undergraduate studies. And for each of us, this is unique. There is a reason why psychology, counseling, human resource management, or whatever route you took has led you to where you are now and also has come about the way that it has. Your unique contribution to others will find a way to reveal itself in what continues to stimulate your curiosity and pulling you towards your goals and ambitions. Secondly, as many of us are moving into further pursuits and studies, to remember that the road we would like to be will likely be a winding one, with each turn enriching who we are as we gain the insight needed. Some of the most interesting and successful people I know embrace new chapters, not filled with all the answers, but rather filled with curiosity. And they are open to new opportunities and tend to have a disposition of service to others at their core. So when we look back, we will be able to see and identify how these connections have occurred in our own chapters. And lastly, you need to become aware that you are a source of inspiration for others in all that you do, both in the journey that you've just completed, as well as what you endeavor to do next. You will probably never know who you might be encouraging to dream big. May your next journey be great, exciting, challenging, and fulfilling. May you be part of a positive change for many people whose lives you touch. Wishing you the absolute best for your next chapter. And thank you to the incredible online campus team. Your support and dedication to us have been amazing. And a special thanks to Maxine and Promeza for all that you do.
As we come to the end of our program, and before Dr. Lotta officially dissolves the ceremony, I would like to thank some special people and convey some important information. An event of this magnitude cannot happen without a dedicated team thinking of all the details. Firstly, thank you to the Registrar, Claire Duploy, and her office for their complete oversight of all graduations institutionally. The Online Campus Graduation Committee was chaired by Grant Mears, Head of Campus, supported by the dedicated online campus staff team. We extend our gratitude to all the service providers, special effects, technical, IT, attire, our educators and supervisors and placement site supervisors, our speakers, loved ones, honourable members in attendance, our leadership teams and executive team. Together we have co-created a memorable event. The choir recordings heard in our graduation ceremony was officially recorded for SACAP by their Sangha Ensemble, a Cape Town-based choir with members drawn from the townships around Cape Town. In closing, after Dr. Lotta dissolves the ceremony, please join us as we end by singing the national anthem together, and please stay behind to find your picture in our ending collage.
It's been an absolute pleasure and privilege to share this platform with so many remarkable people this evening. To our graduates, remember that the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Your education has equipped you well with the necessary skills and knowledge to pursue your dreams. Believe in yourselves and in your abilities. Dream big and pursue your passions with conviction. There will be challenges ahead, but there will also be opportunities, and I believe that you're ready for both. Once again, our most sincere congratulations to you on your incredible achievement. Please stay online as we close with the national anthem, followed by a gallery of our most esteemed graduates. This conferral ceremony of the South African College of Applied Psychology is now officially dissolved. Thank you and good night.